dumb stuff. Okay, the world is full of dumb stuff, and there's a lot of dumb stuff that really pisses me off. One of those things that I have to tell you today, is actually this hypnosis, this agreement in society that what we will do is we are going to pretend this is how women are, and this is how we will portray them, or portray them. Sorry, this is how we will portray them in popular fiction. And it's absolutely crazy to me because I think this is a mass hypnosis. I think this is absolutely crazy. This is the biggest dunk of like turd anyone has ever taken. And this morning, I actually want to talk about female stereotypes I do not like to read in any books I buy. If I buy your book, I am not going to be fine if I read the following stereotypes in your books. So the first stereotype that I think we have to absolutely get rid of is this attack on motherhood and femininity in books. And I want that BS to end because you see, this actually is quite weird. Quite, I my mother and father, whenever I have always compared both of them, my father stood like a door, but my mother was like half his physical size. But I've always considered my mother to be stronger. Why is that? Because you see, for a human, strength is not all muscle. It's almost, always like up in the head. And that is crucial. Attack on femininity and motherhood needs to stop. This assumption, this BS assumption that for a character to be strong, they have to be, able to do insane physical feats, just doesn't add up. It really does not. And when I read your book, if I find this stuff, if I find you pretending that in order for your characters, especially the female ones, to be strong, they have to be able to, do all of that, attack 50 people at once and just knock them out, I'm just going to assume that you are either a stupid man or a very dumb man. Yeah, both times. But yeah, I'm just going to assume, not to generalize, but yeah, I'm just going to assume that you are full of BS, okay? That you are dumb. Because you see, you are participating in a mass hypnosis that doesn't make sense. And you are perpetuating that mass hypnosis. And it means that you don't really care. You don't really care to examine these stereotypes. You don't really care to ask questions about these stereotypes, right? All you care about is to, sort of fit in. And I don't really want an author who wants to fit in. I want an author who can examine things, and I want an author who can tell a story that is remarkably good without using any stereotypes. Okay, and the issue is most times you see, whenever I talk about stereotypes, the problem is not with the stereotype. For instance, the chosen one trope. The problem is not with a character being chosen by the gods or some higher power, and then they go on to do crazy things. That's not the problem. The problem is the number of times this has been done. This has been done a billion times, and this one is actually an exception. These tropes I am listing here, they are actively wrong. Like, if you really have them in your book, you are dumb, in my opinion. Like, you really are dumb. You are remarkably stupid because you are not capable of, scratching the surface of what society has fed you. Like, what society has chosen to feed you, you have not taken any effort to see through all of that, even in the slightest way possible. So you have to either be nefarious or very, very remarkably dumb. Okay, so I don't like this one in my books. But the next one that I really do not like is emotion is weakness. Like, whoever came up with that, this thing that a woman has to be sterile, she cannot express emotions, and there's this assumption that emotions are femininity, emotions are feminine, but emotions are not feminine. Who the told you that? Newsflash, Men are every bit as emotional as women. They are just bombarded over decades to hide that shit while women are not. That is literally the only difference. Listen to me. The only difference between men and women when it comes to emotions is that. At least when it comes to expressing emotions, this attack on emotions and the assumption that emotions are not manly. If you are a man and you express emotions, you're weak. But no, expressing emotions doesn't make you weak. And number two, being emotional does not make you weak. Men are emotional all the time. I am emotional all the time. It's just that my entire life I've been raised and bombarded with this shit. I've been told that expressing your emotions, you're a man, you're not supposed to do that. And number two, every time I have done it, every time I have opened up to someone, they shut me down. And so I do not express my emotions. But I know that I am emotional. I know that men are emotional. Because I have an insider knowledge in this one. Men are every bit as emotional as women. However, we have to understand that, first of all, these things, this is also similar to the first one, which means this emotional stuff, this assumption that emotion is weakness, is a mass hypnosis. People have agreed that this is how we have to conduct ourselves. But I don't remember. First of all, I do not remember being invited to the meeting, when we decided this. So it means that this is some BS that we have inherited from our elders, from our forefathers, and we have to fix it. It's BS, and we have to fix it. Men are emotional, women are emotional. Emotion is not weakness. I'm going to give you a moment of silence to really digest this. And hey, let's actually examine, because some men will actually assume that emotion is useless. They will admit that men are emotional, but they will also say emotion is useless. But that is also the biggest grade of BS I have ever heard. That is really one of the biggest BSs I have ever heard, because emotion, especially emotional intelligence, which women seem to exhibit at a higher numbers, is really powerful stuff. Of course, the obvious use of higher emotional intelligence is being a better mother. But if you really wanted to use it for power, right? Let's say you are someone who wants to gain more power. Forget about being a mother, forget about being a nice, adjusted member of society. Instead, you want to be, someone who seeks power and who wants power at all costs. Well, guess what? You can do that, since you will be able to know the state of your enemies at all times. You will be able to know the emotional state of your enemies, and that means you'll be able to manipulate them accordingly. Emotion is not weakness. It allows you to manipulate everyone around you. You can use it as a powerful measure. In fact, being able to use emotions in order to get others to agree with you is such a powerful thing that everyone uses it. In marketing, they use it. In politics, they use it. They always play on your fear. A lot of these leftist reactionaries, a lot of these conservative reactionaries, all of them, what they do is they take your fears. They take your fears and they monopolize that. They play on your fear, right? And both sides of the political spectrum are not actually immune to this. All of them are full of. But I hope that you can understand what I'm trying to tell you. Emotion is not only good for actually, supporting others and knowing when to be, supportive and when to be kind. In other words, be a better adjusted human being or actually an excellent mother. It can help you be an excellent mother because guess what? Children are cryptic. Like, they don't really express emotions as well as we do as adults. So, having higher emotional intelligence is very crucial to, read the face of a child, okay? And let me tell you, it is very complicated. But yeah, not only can emotions help you be a better human, but emotions can also help you be a remarkably successful, ambitious person. If you have ambition, your ability to succeed as with your ambition might in fact be determined not by how big your muscles are, but how well you can manipulate the emotions of others around you. So it can help you be a good person. It can also help you be a very terrible person. Do not be a very terrible person. But I'm giving you an example because there's this assumption by other men that emotions can never do anything as strong. But guess what? You rarely use your muscles to punch someone else. But you're always using your brain. You're always using your emotions, and you're always assessing other people's emotions. Therefore, women have more of that. They have more useful skills. Okay. At the end of the day, they just have more useful skills. So these two things are really mass hypnosis, and I don't like them. I think they're complete turds. They are the biggest two turds we have been fed about women and femininity and motherhood and emotions. It just doesn't add up to me. If I see this stuff in your book, I am going to assume that you are a very, very, a nefarious person who has a very nasty agenda. But also, if that is not true, I'm going to assume that you are very dumb and you have not even bothered to question what society has fed you, even the slightest scratch. Like, homie, you haven't even looked at the surface. Look at the surface, man. Just examine, just try to ask questions about all the BS that you have been fed in your life, and this stuff will immediately just get out of your books. Okay, one of my favorite characters in a Game of Thrones is actually Katelyn Stark. Katelyn Stark is actually a mother, and she is a fierce mother. Maybe there is a cultural bias to that, because in my tribe especially, we prefer women that are fierce. But putting that aside, she is a very, very strong woman. She's a very attractive woman because she is a very, very emotionally strong woman. Like, you can never Katelyn Stark. She is the wife of Ned Stark, and she is able to hold conversations with that guy. Go have a conversation with Ned Stark and see how far you go. King's Landing tried and they didn't reach far, okay? So at the end of the day, emotions are not weak. Motherhood is not weakness. Femininity in books should not be treated as weakness. If you're a man, you need to understand that these things have been fed to you. You would have never, by yourself, reached these conclusions. They fed you this narrative your entire life, okay? They've really fed you so well, you have not even questioned anything, okay? So I want you to go out there, I want you to question this stuff, and I want you to keep it out of your books, especially if you're planning to sell your book to me, all right? I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was a nice discussion. I enjoyed it. Tell me other female stereotypes down in the comments that you really do not like. Have a nice day. Bye.